Slovenia is the first of the European Union countries that joined in 2004 to take a turn at the rotating presidency of the bloc. The Alpine nation of 2 million people has a track record of success, and Ljubljana hopes to continue this during the 6-month presidency. It counts on spending 62 million euros on the exercise. It inaugurated this new conference centre to hold several of the high-level meetings. The European Affairs Minister talks about the preparations.
There were logistical difficulties because our facilities are limited, our hotel accommodation is limited, our conference facilities are limited. That's one of the reasons why we have built this conference hall here in Brdo. We have also limited human resources, but we have enough of them. What it means is that we will have to recruit, or we have already recruited, the larger proportion of our civil servants than some bigger countries.
Former Prime Minister Alois Peterle, today an MEP, is certain his country will live up to its responsibilities.
Even smaller countries, but I remember Luxembourg presidencies, usually they were very successful, and we have self-confidence that we will do this. Of course, we cooperate with the others, but I'm sure Slovenia is able to preside the Union.
But the government is aware it will need help and doesn't plan to ignore advice from the older EU members, notably France, which will assume the presidency after Slovenia. The Foreign Minister explains.
We have nothing against, the support of France. France is one of the creators of the European Union, so they know best the mechanism, and of course they know the interests, the perspectives. I have had a great time with Bernard Kouchner for the whole period since he has been minister. I'm delighted to be able to work with him and with our French friends. And I do count on their support, absolutely.
The strongly pro-European Slovenes are especially keen to make their country better known. It was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire for a long time, briefly independent between the world wars, and then part of Yugoslavia until it disintegrated. Full independence came in 1991.
Obviously, I'm proud, and I hope no one will confuse us with Slovakia anymore. We're Slovenian.
Well, the Treaty of Lisbon is signed and calm is forecast for the EU agenda while ratification is carried out. It's thought that Slovenia will conduct what's referred to as a transitional presidency, moving affairs along. But a declaration of independence by Kosovo is expected, and Ljubljana is paying close attention to this as an opportunity to renew regional ties with the Balkans, an analyst tells us.
I think that Slovenia did go through a period of rethinking of its place. I mean, after the collapse of Yugoslavia, we were perhaps a bit reluctant to be associated with the Balkan region. We wanted to be seen as part of Europe. But now, being inside Europe, it probably allows us to have a much more proactive Balkan policy.
Slovenia intends to seek reconfirmation of all the Balkan countries' prospects of future EU membership.
As you know, we have, in 2003, taken the decision that it's called Thessaloniki Agenda for Western Balkans. We have at that time decided that Western Balkans has European perspective, meaning that they will one day become members of the EU. So it is not like, the Caucasus or Ukraine. It's different. It's really the future members. Now, during our presidency, we would like to build a network of agreements, or to conclude the work on agreements between the EU and the countries of Western Balkans.
This means keeping up good relations with all, including Serbia. Slovenia skirmished with Serbia for about 10 days before its independence. Belgrade needs EU help on the road to integration. We hear from this Slovenian specialist at the European Parliament.
Serbia is the biggest country in the region. There are 8 million of inhabitants. They have administrative and political capacities. What they need to wake up. They need to deliver what they can deliver. They can deliver much more. And as soon as Serbia will speed up this process. This will have a very positive, beneficial influence on all neighboring states.
Curiously, with neighbour Croatia already poised to join the EU, relations are more strained. When Yugoslavia broke up, Croatia took a large part of the Adriatic coast without giving Slovenia much thought. The leader of the smaller country's nationalist party suggests delaying Croatian EU accession till all border disputes are settled.
The whole countries of Western Balkans should enter EU at once. So Croatia plus Montenegro, Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia and Albania. So they are more or less on the same level of living standards. So it is better to wait a little bit with Croatia and then take the whole region. Otherwise you will have problems. You, mostly, Europe.
Slovenia is doing well economically. A member of the Eurozone for roughly a year now, the country is enjoying 4% growth. The euro's strength against the dollar hasn't had much of an effect on it, says this researcher.
It's not so important for Slovenia because most of our exports is to the European Union. So in a way it is internal, it is in euro. So only part of it, maybe a smaller part, maybe up to 30% is involved in, let's say, dollar trade and so on. And there, of course, by the fact that the euro is high, we'll lose some competitiveness. But I would say, at least for now, it is not so important for Slovenia.
The country's Minister for Growth is dubbed Mr. Lisbon. He plans to press for a reconfirmation of the EU's Lisbon strategy.
Europe will need to rethink its global strategy. After all, we will have this constitutional treaty signed, we will have the institutional framework set up. The enlargement is more or less I wouldn't say completed, but it is being digested. Europe has been expanding quite quickly over the last decade. And this all gives Europe a chance to look into the future rather than to look into the past.
In contributing to a common forward-looking vision, the Slovenes also hope to expose Europe to their music and accents, both Slavic and Germanic.